87 years ago, which coincidentally is 77 years ago, during his first inaugural address, FDR uttered his now famous words, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." He was talking then about the proper attitude needed to lift the country and the world from what was then the throes of the Great Depression. His words are especially applicable today as our nation and our world is in the midst of another significant crisis. There's the crisis, and then there's the fear about the crisis. And that fear could prove to be the bigger problem in the next few days and weeks. The only thing we need to be afraid of is being afraid. The famous psychologist and theorist Albert Ellis coined the term awfulizing to describe the phenomenon of thinking that a problem is worse than it really is. We awfulize, we catastrophize. With teenagers, we call it dramatize. Our adversity is tough enough, but then we go and make it worse by telling ourselves that something is truly awful when it is really only bad or unwanted. The problems that we're facing right now are real enough without awfulizing them. Any mathematician worth her degree will tell you that the worst case scenario is as much an outlier as the best case scenario. Now, we awfulize because we're human. We all have a tendency to do that with our automatic thoughts. The challenge is for you to learn to anti-awfulize. If awfulizing is your automatic thought, anti-awfulizing can be your deliberate thought, what you choose to think. It's not the end of the world. This too shall pass. Statistically speaking, I'm extremely likely to get through all of this completely unscathed. Those are all examples of anti-awfulizing. It makes sense to be concerned about what's happening. It doesn't make sense to bother yourself about it with what-if thinking, okay? Finally, I want to suggest that the watchword for any adversity or loss is adaptation. Whenever you're faced with a situation over which you have little or no control, you can control what you choose to think about that adversity. And you can choose to think about how you can adapt to your new reality. People who survive and thrive don't waste a second complaining about their situation. They scan about looking to take action. Put yourself in the business of adapting. Whenever we lose a loved one, that person's never coming back in this life. So we learn to adapt to life without that person. Right now, life seems like it's changing by the day, even by the hour. Put your energy into adapting, not into bothering yourself. You're hearing a lot of mental health experts telling you to go for a walk, turn off the bad news on your phone or TV, do some deep breathing or mindfulness meditation. All of those things can be very helpful and are good advice, but they are coping skills that have to be grounded in a mindset. So, anti-awfulize and adapt. We're going to get through this. I'm Mike Pekosh, a licensed professional counselor in Washington, Pennsylvania.